Hey everyone, been a long time since I posted a video, so I thought I'd jump in and show you a little project we're working on. I've posted a couple things on chassis builds before, but going to be building a 61 chassis, bug chassis, and just thought I'd get started and start throwing in some videos for you to watch and some step-by-steps on how to put together a chassis if you ever wanted to go down to body off, or maybe you just come across a titled chassis that you want to restore and build back to, you know, making it nice strong runner again. So stay tuned. I'll show you a little bit about what's going on. I'm just getting started, so not much here, but basically gonna try and build a car straight from scratch, so stay tuned. All right, so here is my 61 bug chassis. This is what I'm going to start with. I actually never built a car from scratch from this way. I have a 61 L380 Turkish body that needs some massive amount of metal work done to it. So that body is going to go onto this chassis, but as you can see, I've already cut the floor pans out. Everything's been torn down. This chassis has been sitting in my garage kind of up against the wall for quite some time. I've already done a repair panel here. Had some rot in there that I cut out just recently and re-welded a patch in. I tend to kind of keep a little bit of everything, so actually it's right over here, you can see. Had a little tunnel patch that I cut out. Used that metal and stitched it all in. So got that little area cleaned up and fixed, but as you guys are tearing down your chassis, if you've got old floor pans in there, a couple things you want to watch out for. So the factory pans are sitting on a lip, so if you're cutting out your old floor pans, you want to make sure that you leave yourself a nice little lip here. You can see just right on the edge there. There's still some metal that I've got to grind off, and I've got to come into here and grind that off. I'm going to come up and grind off all this extra metal, probably use a chisel and a hammer to get most of this up, but then grind it down. I've cut the rear arm sections off here. They were rotted out anyway, so I cut them off. The one thing to kind of watch out for again here is that this metal post right here, you want to keep that post, so you want your pan to sit on top of that metal support bracket right here. So I'm going to peel this off and grind that down and clean it up. And then you can see on the other side we've got some chassis remnants here that I need to clean up too. So new pans are right underneath me, ready to go, and right now it's just about getting the tunnel and the Napoleon's hat cleaned up and getting the rest of this metal work kind of grind down and cleaned up so we can start to fit our floor pans. I've got some measurements and stuff that I've already taken, and yeah, we'll get her done and get the floor pans in so we can get it cleaned up and ready for paint. So all right, stay tuned. Hope you guys enjoy the build. Hey everyone, back on the 61 chassis restoration build. Today we're going to get started on cleaning up the tunnel and the remnants of the chassis before I start to put the new pans in. So I wanted to kind of show you and walk you through tools that you're going to need if you're planning on doing this. And so let's go take a look here. So got the chassis set up on just a couple sawhorses here. It's light enough to where these plastic sawhorses will hold the weight and not move it around as much. So I feel pretty good about that. So got a few things that you're going to want to make sure that you have if you get started on this. So first, using a grinder with a wire brush on it. You can find these cheap at Harbor Freight, or if you want, go high end and get a more expensive one, you can, but these are great. They work perfect and they're cheap. So I'm not too stressed about that. Definitely want to wear some sort of eye protection, so either a face shield or some protective goggles, glasses, type of thing. And then this job tends to get pretty dusty pretty quick, so some sort of respirator will be good to use. Face mask, there you go, trusty little face mask. Over time, this also starts to irritate your ears because it's pretty loud, so get yourself some ear protection. Again, Harbor Freight has these really cheap. You can get them for like $5 or $6, but they, and they come in different quality levels depending on how quiet you want it. But just something to kind of protect your ears, because again, over time, starts to, it'll start to irritate your ears. And then lastly, make sure you're wearing some good, protective gloves in case that grinder kicks back on you. Now, a lot of people will take the tunnel and they'll just send it out and get it sandblasted. I'm going to choose to just do mine by hand. Really doesn't take that long, but I want to get this down to as much bare metal as possible, clean it up, find any other spots that I need to repair. You can see the patch panel that I've already repaired there, and I might have to do another one over here to the side. We'll see how bad it is, but yeah, job today, get this all cleaned up. So take down all the remnants of the tar. There's remaining tar on here that's been chipped away, and clean it up, get all the dirt and grime and anything kind of left here. We'll get that all nice and cleaned out, so we have a nice surface to paint on and weld on when we're ready. So that's the job. So I just spent about 20 minutes with that wire wheel on my grinder, so I want to give you guys a sneak peek and take a look at just the first pass. And one of the reasons why I'm doing this is I found some rust, so check it out. So here's first pass, and surface rust there, but definitely as I went over it with the wheel, that got really thin. So I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to weld in a patch panel there. We'll probably do that later today, but this stuff's a little bit surface rust here. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to clean it up, and this is a personal build. This is not a customer build, so I'm going to leave this one here and clean that up. It's going to get coated anyway, so this should protect it, and I still got to go through and cut that rest of that lip off, so that'll happen today too. But you can see just with the wire wheel cleanup, this looks pretty good. Halfway there. You see a little bit of a kind of a brownish dark or lighter black color there. As you hit some of these spots that still have the tar on it, it heats up and it melts and it smears. So as you let that dry and cool, and then go back over it again with another pass and another wire wheel, it'll actually get down to bare metal and it'll kick it off. So we'll take a couple passes at this and get it nice and cleaned up. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just needs to get down to as much bare metal as possible, because when we go to paint it, we'll want to make sure that it is going to stick. We want that paint to stay, but kind of cool to see factory welds. Love that. But there you go. First pass. All right, progress check-in. Went through and cleaned up all the edges. Just got done cutting out that nasty spot. Look at that. Hey, it looks like the moon. Wasn't too bad on the back side. Just kind of came through in a couple spots, but the rest of it had quite a ways to go, but I wasn't sure, so cut it out anyway. So I'll weld in a new piece there. Inside the tunnel looks pretty clean. A little dirty. Cleaned up this side. This is a good example of what that lip should look like when you get ready to have it nice and clean. These dark spots, these are actually low spots from the spot welds on the underside, this side of the tunnel, how the factory pieced the tunnel together when they were creating the tunnel. So that should be good. A little bit of crater down there, but it's not nearly as bad as what was on the other side, so I'm gonna just clean it up and leave it as is, and then treat it with some rust preventative paint. But making a little progress. Cleaner. Floor's a mess. This is why you should wear a mask and then glasses or some sort of face shield, because all that shit is flying around. So got a little fan going to help kind of kick some of the smaller particles. Keep in mind it is the end of October and not exactly warm out, so here in Washington it's in the upper 40s, low 50s right now. So but making progress. Gonna get ready to clean up and treat that section, stitch that in, and we'll move on to cleaning up the rest of the tunnel with that wire brush. So stay tuned. All right, ended up taking a couple weeks off and back at it again here early November. Got real busy at work, so didn't have the energy or the desire to really get out here in the garage. It's cold, wet, dark, all that crap. So we as in me, just about ready to start mocking up the floor pans. So I got this thing flipped over, got the bottom side completely cleaned up, had a couple screw holes in each side, so welded those up, and got the front of the Napoleon's hat cleaned up nice and clean. It was full of gunk and kind of crappy. Previously had that section that I was that I cut out, and I got that, well, it's upside down now, but got that welded in, and just went over it with a really light body filler just to kind of even it out. But so I'm down to I got all of the grinder and wire brush action, got all that done, and now I'm getting to the spots where I can't reach it with that grinder, so I'm getting in now with a wire brush. So all I want to do is I just want to get to knocking off the surface rust here. Whatever surface rust is laying and left, I'm going to try to get that in all the little nooks and crannies before I start mocking up the pans. Any other dirt or any grime or anything like that that's left. I've got this one leaf spring that will not come off, so I'll keep working on that. I think I'm going to have to get creative on that one, but pretty much almost ready. Start mocking up the pans, which we'll walk through that next process. I got some measurements that we'll go through, but I'm going to finish cleaning up with the wire brush and flip it back over, and next time I come back to you, start mocking up the pans.